Now let us talk more about this report tab. From here, you can add a segment. A segment is a subset of your analytics data. By adding a new segment to the report, you can compare different subsets of the data. Let me first show how to add a segment. Click on this plus sign. Here we have a number of predefined segments that you can add. Like, I want to add a segment of bounced sessions. Check this and click apply. Now see what has happened. In the same report, we have two data sets. One is for all users and second is for bounced sessions. It will help you to make the comparison with another segment. Here we can conclude that bounced sessions are 50% of all the users on given dates. Let me add one another segment to make it clear. Remove this segment. Let me add direct traffic as a new segment. You can compare the direct traffic with all users. For example, I want to see what is the proportion of direct users with all users. It is simple. Now we have the data of all users and the direct users for all the metrics. Just make the comparison. See here, we have data of both the segments for all the important metrics. Even the detailed data is applicable for both of the segments. See here, for the language, comparative data is available. At country level, comparative data is available. Very interesting. There is another way to compare the data, but that will be applicable to graph only. Let us compare the bounce rate with users. Select the metric bounce rate. Let me remove the segment first. Now it is clear. You can compare the bounce rate with all users and look for why the proportion is high on certain days when compared with all users. Then, what is the difference in a segment and this type of comparison? By adding a segment, you can compare the entire data of a given time frame. However, if you use this type of method for comparison, you will be able to compare the data on this graph only within the time frame. Even R-to-R data comparison is available here in the graph format. There is one more method of comparison, and that method is comparison on the basis of time period. Let me show you how to compare the data of two different time periods. Go to time frame, tick compare and select the suitable time range. Suppose I want to compare the data of present week with the last week. Select previous week and apply. Now see, we have the comparative data of two different periods. Here you can see that we have the percentage increase or decrease in the numbers with respect to the concerned metric. Let me scroll down it further. It will be read like this one. There is 11.11% decrease in all the users during this week when compared with the last week. The green color shows the positive improvement. Here it means that the number of sessions per user slightly increased by 0.5% when compared with the last week. Same way, you can also make the comparison of rest of the metrics. It's wonderful. You can see here, for any of the metric, the comparison is between two different periods. Like for the country, the comparison is here along with the percentage change. If you want to save the report, you can save it for future reference. Click on Save. Give a name to the report and OK. The report is saved. In future, if you want to access it, just click on Save Report. The report will be there. Go back to the audience. If you want to export the report, you can export it in various formats like PDF, Google Sheet, Excel and CSV. Let me save it to the Excel. Our file is exported. You can also save it as PDF. Here is your PDF report. You can further share the report to anyone via mail. Just enter the mail ID. Select the file format. Set the frequency. Do you want to send the mail once, daily, weekly or monthly? The mail will be sent automatically on these frequencies. Check it and send the mail. The mail is sent successfully. Now let us move to the next tab of audience report, that is active users. Oh, it is still showing me the data of two different periods. Let me first uncheck the compare, then it will make the sense. Now we have the data for one time frame only. Before we jump to the analysis part, let me explain who are active users. As per the definition of Google Analytics, active users are users who had at least one session during the given time period. The active user report lets you to see the following metrics: 1 day active users, 7 day active users, 14 days active users, and 20 day active users. The metrics in the report are relative to the last day in the date range you are using for the report. For example, if your date range is January 1st to January 28, then the user will be defined like this: 1 day active users, the number of unique users who initiated the sessions on your site or app on January 28, that is the last day of your date range. 7 day active users, the number of unique users who initiated the sessions on your site or app from January 22nd through January 28, that is the last 7 days of your date range. 14 day active users, the number of unique users who initiated the sessions on your site or app from January 15 through January 28, the last 14 days of your date range. 20 days active user, the number of unique users who initiated the sessions on your site or app from January 1st through January 28, the entire 20 days of your date range. Now the final question: what is the meaning of this? How can I make sense of this data? Let me explain it. In case when you have many one-day active users, but the number drops off for longer-term users, that signals the things like the problem with the new release or the initial enthusiasm isn't translating into the long-term engagement. For example, lot many users might be downloading an app but are finding that it doesn't really meet a need they have or that it doesn't capture their interest. For the time being, just leave the lifetime value and the cohort analysis, as these are related to e-commerce sites. Next, click on demographics. In demographic reports, the data is available for two demographics, that is age and gender. Although we have seen this type of data in overview tab as well, but here you will find the detailed data with respect to the demographics, and you can create a different reports for demographics. We have the data according to the age categories. It shows maximum number of users belongs to the age group of 25 to 34 years users in the given time frame. We have the data on gender, where majority of the users are male, again for the given time frame. To have the more details, you can click on Age tab. Now, the detailed data is available in both graphs as well as in table form for various age categories. See, the age-wise data is reported on three major categories of customer cycle, that is acquisition, behavior, and conversions. Under acquisition, you can see number of users, new users, sessions. It's clear that in the given time period, the age group 25 to 34 years is performing better. Under behavior categories, we have bounce rate, page per session, and average session duration. The conversion category is related to your goals that I will talk about in the next module. You can also see the same type of data for gender category. See, you again have the three phases of customer cycle, that is acquisition, behavior, and conversions are reported here according to the gender. Data is also reported in the graph form as well. You can make the comparison by selecting any metric.